going?
Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hello.
It's
Welcome.
another week.
It's going to be a little late tonight.
Say it again. I talked over you.
And I had to get my glass of wine anyway. Welcome to Dinner's Going to Be a Little Late Tonight, episode 5.
And you can see that we're drinking because it's been just a tiny bit of a stressful day. So I'm cheering you, Patty, and audience.
Cheers.
Yeah, so here we are. And I have to tell you, I'm a little flustered because I woke up yesterday morning and went to put milk in my coffee. And when I opened the refrigerator, it was warm and sweating. The sides of the refrigerator were sweating and my milk was warm. And oh my God, I opened the freezer and it was also like the ice was melting. And so I had a freak out. So I had to run to the store, get ice, bring it home, put it in the tubs, take all of the meat out of the freezer and put it in these tubs to keep it frozen while we figured out what the hell was going on with our refrigerator. And as you guys know, I'm a Purdue Farms brand ambassador, and they send me all this meat to cook, including today, which we'll talk about in a second. But I had a freezer full. I have like a rack of lamb and these beautiful steaks. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But luckily, we found a super great repairman here in San Diego. He came right away. There was a part, he fixed it. So by the end of last night, I was putting things back into the refrigerator and the freezer and praying that this morning when I woke up, the food that I had repurchased to make this dish today was going to be available for our use. So good news, it is, and we're not going to eat poison meat. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that, John. You know, I'm very intimately aware and familiar with your freezer and your refrigerator, and I just have to say, I think that was God's way of saying, John, it's time to clean out that freezer. So I'm sorry, it's a lot of stuff.
I'm hearing you. I'm literally like tossing things over my shoulder. Why do I have hamburger from 2018? Why did I save this ham hocks from God knows when? Throw it. Like it was cathartic in a way.
You could have lifted off a month off of what was in your freezer. So unfortunately, you had to get rid of it. All right. So John, what are we making today?
We are here to make chicken saltimbocca with a twist. So as you guys know, chicken saltimbocca is a very traditional Italian recipe. And you can get it in many, many Italian restaurants, but oftentimes it's made with veal. And I have to tell you, I love veal, but it's not cool. So I can't do it. A lot of people do, no judgment, well, kind of maybe a little, but I can't do the veal. So chicken saltimbocca is what we evolved to in our household and hopefully yours. But chicken saltimbocca is actually a dish from Rome and was with at some point very traditional Roman dish, and it has sage and prosciutto and very, very fine, thinly sliced chicken, and a really delicious, delicious sauce made with shallots and, of course, wine.
Of course. So, John, do you know what saltimbocca means?
I do, but why don't you tell me what it means?
Okay, because I've been so excited all week. Saltimbocca is Italian for saltare in bocca, which means jump into your mouth. So this dish is going to be so delicious, it's just going to leap into your mouth. I love that. Saltare in bocca. I know, it's a bit of a Spanish accent. I took a lot more Spanish than Italian. So before we get started, let's talk about last week for a minute. And I want to give a shout out to Lisa and Sue, who both made the dish and sent us awesome photos. Lisa added her own twist, which I love. But even more exciting is, I don't know if you guys are aware, but grapefruit spoon sales have exploded. I mean, it's all over. They're everywhere. There's my friend T, who in fact went to Crate and Barrel and bought a grapefruit spoon last week.
Oh, she's the one. I love you, Lisa. Thank you. You have started a run on grapefruit spoons that no one could have predicted.
And I do have one more great grapefruit spoon hack for you that my sister Dorothy, I think we're gonna have to call her the hack queen, said she learned from some other cook to use a grapefruit spoon to get the seeds out of a jalapeno. How simple and easy. I was gonna buy a jalapeno.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to go buy a grapefruit spoon.
I'm gonna send you one for Christmas. So, but you might need one. So, and then just last thing, talking about last week, John was so amazed and impressed, and that I make my own stuffing, my own breadcrumbs for Thanksgiving stuffing. And I didn't clean out my refrigerator, but I did find this in my cupboard. So apparently I saved this extra bread.
No, wait. So that's from Thanksgiving?
But I did save it to cook with. I saved it because where I live, we have a lake, and don't tell anyone, we're not supposed to feed the ducks, but I saved it to feed the ducks. But this is the evidence that I really do make my own stuffing with bread.
And I was there for Thanksgiving. And
you were.
And I ate that stuffing.
Anyway, on to today's show.
All right, so we're going to make chicken saltimbocca. And as a Purdue Farms ambassador, I get access to all kinds of delicious cuts of meat. And Purdue Farms makes this amazing, it's called Fresh Cuts, and it's thinly sliced chicken breast. So you don't have to do it yourself, or you don't have to get out one of those mallets and pound it into a thin piece, which I have done before, and I actually have one of those mallets, and sometimes it feels kind of good to pound with that mallet. But Purdue Farms does it for you. So that's an amazing thing, and you can go to PurdueFarms.com and order that and many, many other kinds of meat, and have it delivered directly to your door. So that's what they do for me. I get it to the door, and then I start cooking. So we're going to make chicken saltimbocca, and what it requires first are thinly sliced pieces of chicken. So in this case, I have them already sliced. You can do it yourself by slicing the chicken this way when you have a nice thick chicken breast, but you can tell these are pretty big pieces. Here's my hand so you can see like the size. Patty, do you have the same, or did you slice them yourself?
I bought, what did they call them? They're not Purdue Farms, unfortunately, but I did, I think they called them thinly sliced chicken breasts. But John, I also want you to know, I have my mallet, and it's my grandmother's mallet, and I still have it, and I still use it. And it is so therapeutic.
Oh,
yeah, it's ancient. Anyway.
I mean, I have no idea what your grandmother used to for. Oh, I have to show you something else. So last week we made stuffed zucchini, and we stuffed it with sausage and all kinds of delicious things and baked it in the oven, and it was delicious and amazing. And I went down to my vegetable garden this morning to water, and these are hiding. Look. I grew these.
They're beautiful.
I grew these. All right. So it can happen. You can grow them at home, or you can buy them in the store or at the farmer's market. Okay. So what we're going to do with the chicken breasts is we're going to take them and we put salt and pepper on the top, and then we're going to sprinkle some chopped sage, fresh sage.
Well, my
sprinkle a little and sage. Say what?
Scott grew the sage I'm using. Wow. The garden is like
you can grow things in the desert?
Few things. I actually have some friends here who are good green thumbs. But we have a basil bush. It's huge. We've got rosemary and a little tiny sage plant that was enough to make this recipe.
Well, so I've sprinkled the sage on the chicken breasts, and then we're going to put a piece of prosciutto. So here's the beauty. The prosciutto slice is pretty much the same size as the chicken slice. So you literally just stick it right on top and press it down, and it kind of just melds to the chicken breast. And this is classic saltimbocca. So it's the prosciutto and the chicken together with the sage that sort of make this delicious flavor that we all enjoy. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done. So after we put the prosciutto on the chicken, we then take a giant piece, a leaf of sage, and we put it on there so that it sticks on top. And I actually took an extra step, and I took a toothpick and stuck it in there so that the sage would stay on the chicken when I fry it. So we're going to do that. Patty, are you still afraid of the sage, or are you able to do it?
I did it. I don't think mine's as pretty as yours. And my prosciutto doesn't fit my chicken breast exactly, which is giving me a little anxiety, but I'm going to work through it.
How disappointing. Have you ever smelled fresh sage?
I love it so much.
You know what it smells like, Patty?
What? Maybe. It sure does. That's why I love it.
It smells like another green leafy thing that also might be considered an herb by some people. So I am now placing the sage on top of the prosciutto, and I'm pinning it down with half a toothpick and sticking it in. And so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to dredge it in flour very lightly. So we just place it in a bowl with some flour in it. Just really lightly dust it. And that just makes it a little crispy when we fry it. And that's why you want to put the sage leaf with a toothpick, I think, because the flour kind of makes it, it could fall off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the hot oil in the pan that's been heating, and I've dredged the flour on the chicken breast, which feels kind of weird. But yeah, so I'm frying it for 3 minutes on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over and fry it for 3 minutes on the other side.
John, I have an important question.
What's that?
Do we fry it with a toothpick in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take it out later unless you want to choke the person that you're serving, and sometimes that happens.
And what side do I put down first? What side do
Sorry, say again?
What side do I put down first? Prosciutto side down?
Yeah, prosciutto side down. I forgot to do that, but that's what the directions say to do. Okay, so I'm gonna butcher your name, Jihad McMurphy. I'm sorry, but thank you for saying that's beautiful, and I'm glad you're watching. So I'm turning it over already. It just needs lightly fried because remember, the chicken is really, really thin, so it cooks fast.
My sage fell off. But
Say again?
My sage fell off.
Oh no.
I'm also making a mess, but that's okay.
So this is one of those dishes that you can prepare for, if you're having people over, you can prepare in advance. And it's very, the presentation of it is beautiful. So then when you turn it back, you can, when you heat it back up, it looks beautiful, and you can just use it as it will. So yeah,
and
so I'm done with the other thing. And this time I'm going to put the prosciutto side down, because that's what I was supposed to do the last time. Have you ever been to Spain or Italy and seen the giant pieces or I don't know what it is, legs of prosciutto hanging in the window? It's amazing. In fact, when I was in Spain, and they don't call it prosciutto there, but when I was in Spain, I went to in Madrid, I went to the Museo de Jamón. The Museo de Jamón, which was literally a museum of ham.
I love it.
Hanging in the windows, they had every kind of possible ham you'd ever imagine, cured ham, and they're big on their jamón, in Spain.
Yum.
And that is their version of Italian prosciutto. So very similar.
I love prosciutto. We'll be using prosciutto in future episodes for sure. We've got some different things coming up.
Okay,
Right.
so we're just getting that done. But Patty, why don't you tell us while that's cooking, what are we drinking with this?
What are we drinking today? Let me take mine off so I don't overcook them because I think they're pretty done. So I did have my weekly consultation with Psalm Sid, who gave me a wonderful recommendation. I got flour all over my fingers, but I don't want to go wash my hands, so I'll just have gooky fingers. Okay, so today she gave us 2 old world varietals. So the first one is a Chianti. All right, I know what you're thinking. Say it, just say it.
I don't
What
like
are you
Chardonnay.
No, Chianti is the red. What does everyone think when they say Chianti? Let's go well.
Fava beans?
That's the one. Okay, we got that out of the way. Okay, so the reason Salm Sid recommends Chianti is because it has a bit of a tannin to cut the fat of the prosciutto, and it's also earthy and, wait for it, we get to use this word 2 weeks in a row, herbaceous. And
herbaceous. Ding, 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 ding. That's a $100 word.
It is. So tannins, if you're not familiar, that's that dry feeling in the middle of your tongue. And I always feel that with Merlot. Sidebar, I don't care for Merlot, but I'm not going to do any Merlot bashing today. Anyway, and the thing that creates the tannins is that's from the skins of the grapes. So that's our red option, is a nice Chianti with some fava beans. Now on the white side, this one's for you, John. That's why I didn't tell you what it was in advance. So Sydney recommends a Chablis. And the reason she recommends that is because it's not, in her words, over the top fruity, and it has some herbaceous and salinity notes to go with the prosciutto and the herbs in the chicken. So what is Chablis? So Chablis is an appellation in the wine region of Burgundy in France. So Chardonnay is the only legal grape that can be grown there if they want to label it Chablis. Chablis is the place, Chardonnay is the grape. So John, I want you to try a Chablis, because when I talk about the Chardonnay that you will like, I think you will like a French Chablis.
Okay.
So put the
I'm gonna try it. I'm in for it, but I just don't like California Chardonnay as much because it tends to get a little oaky, buttery for me.
Yes. So right now, I went shopping with Psalm Sid yesterday, and she picked this out for me. I'm not even going to attempt. I took French in kindergarten, and I got in trouble because I talked too much, and all I remember is fermer la bouche, which I believe means close your mouth. That's the only thing I learned. I actually took it from kindergarten to 5th grade. So this is a Chablis from France, and it is William Febvre. So, and what I find is compared to a California Chablis or Chardonnay, no comparison. This is light, and especially I think if you like Sauvignon Blanc, I think you would really like this. It's delicious, and it is making me much less stressed out this afternoon, so that's fantastic. And I've got another fun fact, but do we need to do a step before I finish my wine pairing blurb, or are we okay?
No, go ahead, finish.
Okay. So when Sydney gave me these 2 varietals, these old world, the Chablis and the Chianti, my first thought was like, Chablis and Chianti, what is it, 1970? And those varietals had kind of a negative connotation, as I recall, right? So I asked her, I said, now, is that true that those were maybe lower end wines, or was that just Northern California wine snobbery or California wine snobbery? And she said, well, actually, it's a little bit of both. Public perception versus marketing. She said, winemaking now is generally more refined and elegant because it's so competitive. But she said, that's not to say that there aren't still winemakers out there who are making, she says, I love this, producers with not great integrity. But her recommendation is, so filter it all down to this. This is your takeaway for today. If you get a $12 to $20 price point bottle of wine, she said you can almost guarantee that the wine will be at the very least drinkable and more than likely good. But ultimately, she says, if you like it, then it is a good wine because you like what you like. I love it. So a couple weeks ago, we learned what goes together. And now today's takeaway is you like what you like. So.
Well, and I have to agree with you there because, it's in the end, it's like, do you enjoy it? Does it taste good to you? Then it's worth it and you'll like it. You should enjoy it. So it's where it's like expensive or inexpensive. It doesn't really matter. It could be like Thunderbird, $4.99. And if you like it, hey, drink it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
all right.
Now we are using the same oil that we just cooked the chicken in, and we're going to add, I'm just going to turn the heat down here because I got it going a little bit. We're going to add shallots. So I cut up and minced an entire shallot, and we're going to add some garlic. So 2 cloves of garlic and 1 medium-sized shallot. We're just going to let those cook together really fast so that they get a little brown and delicious. And they're going to combine with the little crumbly, delicious parts of the chicken that were left behind. So those kind of little brown pieces that are left in the pan are going to add to the flavor of this dish. So it makes it really good. Okay, so we got that going. And now we're going to add some chicken broth. So a cup of chicken broth. And of course, it wouldn't be, dinner's going to be a little late tonight without a little bit of booze. So we're adding a half a cup of white wine. And in this case, I used a nice Sauvignon Blanc because that's what I'm drinking. And the two things sort of go hand in hand. So cheers to you, a little glass of Sauvignon Blanc, a little for me, a little for them, and it's all good.
I'm using the Chablis.
You're using the Chablis.
I am.
Okay, so now we're going to just let this cook for a little bit and thicken. So we just want it to reduce a little bit. And while that's cooking, I'm going to talk to you about what to serve on the side of this dish because, go ahead.
Were we supposed to put some flour in this to thicken it?
Yeah, and we're going to do that in just a second when it reduces. But you can do it now.
Okay, sorry.
It doesn't really matter. You can absolutely do it now.
I just didn't want to miss it.
You didn't want to what?
I didn't want to miss it.
Oh, no, okay.
Left over, like when
so
you put it.
I am going to serve on the side some broccolini. Can you see that? And so what I did was I steamed it in the microwave. And now I'm just going to fry it with a little olive oil and a little salt. And that's it. And we've got something else going. Where's my... so we also made potato coins, which is kind of a fun little thing. So it's little baby potatoes sliced into very thin slices. And then it's baking in the oven on a cookie sheet with some olive oil and salt and pepper. And that's pretty much it. So that's going to taste really good on the side. I've got my sauce reducing.
Me too.
So Patty, where did you learn to cook?
Oh, that's a good question. So my mom was an awesome cook. And I was the pickiest eater in the world. When I grew up, I was the youngest of 3 girls. My sisters are 8 and 10 years older than I am. Don't go there. I literally ate like hot dogs, fruit cocktail, raviolis, Luca raviolis from San Francisco, North Beach. And I think that was like it. Oh, and cottage cheese. So as I got older, I started eating a few things, but I was still super picky. Then I went to college and I joined a sorority and I started eating there. And I realized what an amazing cook my mother was. So I started embracing and trying different things and just kind of watching her, because I think I've said before, her recipes would be like, oh, a little of this, a little of that. So then I just started, I love to eat. And then I moved out and graduated from college and lived on my own, and I started cooking. And I thought, and I remember my sister Lynn's giving me, both my sisters are also great cooks, and my sister Lynn saying, just do it. Just do it. So I would try, and I had this revelation one day that it's kind of like the wine thing. If I like it, then it probably tastes pretty good to other people too. So I'm just going to close this story with the seal the deal story of how I did charm my now husband of almost 31 years. I had him for dinner and I made homemade pasta, which is one of my specialties. And I made 3 different sauces, tricolore for the Italian flag. I made an Alfredo, a pesto, and a marinara. And he says to this day, he says that sealed the deal for me. So that is my long answer to your question.
That's impressive. You made your own pasta. I still have not tried to do that.
Well, we're going to. As soon as it's cold enough in the desert. Sorry, I can't figure out how to turn off these texts. So it's my family, but maybe they're texting about me. As soon as it's cool, we're going to make some homemade pasta. And dinner's going to be a little late tonight. And that's going to be a super fun episode because we're going to have a little twist. So, all right, I'm reducing.
Add your flour to the sauce so it starts to get a little bit more thick. And then we're going to put in the sage and the parsley. So the remaining chopped up sage and a little bit of chopped up parsley and a little bit of lemon juice. And so that is going to start to make this, ooh, it smells really good, this delicious sauce that we're going to put the chicken back into. And that will finish it off.
John?
But not. Yeah.
Did you ever get one of these?
Yeah.
I remember you had a fruit squeezer, a citrus squeezer envy at my house one time.
Yes, I got one for Christmas.
Okay, good. Because I remember you saying to Sophia, your daughter, Sophia, you should get me one of these for Christmas. So I always wondered if she came through.
And she did, because we were at your house for Thanksgiving when I said that, and then she went out and bought it, and I got it for Christmas. So a little citrus squeezer. Yep.
Love them.
Okay, now we're going to put in half a stick of butter because everything tastes better. Everything tastes better with butter, doesn't it?
100%. Absolutely
so,
true.
Just going to melt that, and then I'm going to put the chicken back in the pan. See, it's really not that hard. I mean, this sort of comes together in, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. We're just drawing it out. I mean, if you were not telling stories about wine and where you learned to cook and the origins of sage, then this would come together really fast. And it's, like I said before, it's when you have company over, it's pretty impressive to serve this because it looks really delicious. It tastes really delicious. It looks like you've been cooking for a long, long day, but actually it's super fast.
It smells delicious, and I love the sauce because it's thick but not too thick. My problem a lot of times when I'm cooking is they don't get thick enough.
So now I'm putting the chicken that I've pre-fried in the olive oil, and I'm putting it back into the sauce so that all that delicious flavor combines and the chicken just finishes cooking. So it's all going to sit in that sauce. Say what?
John, which are you doing it chicken side down, not prosciutto side down, right?
Correct. Chicken side down, because now you want the prosciutto to stay on top and to stick on top.
Okay. Yum.
And I'm going to take out my potato coins because they're done. And this meal is going to come together. Ooh, those smell really good. So the other thing about the potato coins I forgot to mention is that you sprinkle a little bit of Italian seasoning on it. And a lot of people make that Italian seasoning. I don't. I buy it at the store. And this one actually says Italian seasoning. But it's a mix of oregano and basil and rosemary and marjoram and a bunch of other delicious things. And it tastes really good on top of these potatoes. This one is from Martha. My friend Martha.
Awesome. Thank you, Martha.
Well, you know, we met in the Slammer, and she taught me how to cook. So I try to support her now as she comes out of the depths of her poverty.
Oh my.
Yeah, so good old Martha. So I just want to remind you that as a Purdue Farms ambassador, there are some really delicious things on PurdueFarms.com to get, including this fresh cut, thinly sliced chicken breast, which I've used for this dish, and it is quite delicious. So, and already done for you, and you don't have to go through all the trouble of slicing it super thin or hammering it with the mallet. It's already done. So it's ready for plating.
What about, did I miss the cheese part?
Oh, the cheese. That's why I have you. That's why we have each other, see? It's like we have to remind each other of these things. So
signature, John, is that every week we forget one ingredient. But we always remember.
But we remember.
Yeah.
So this is the little upgrade, the little Americanization of this Roman classic chicken saltimbocca, where we add a little provolone to the top. And I had this in a restaurant when I was growing up as a little kid, and I dare say it was probably veal, and my parents probably told me it was chicken so that I would eat it. But nonetheless, we are now making it with chicken because of the whole veal thing that we aren't feeling that great about. But we do put a piece of provolone on the top to melt it, and it kind of combines with that crispy sage and the delicious prosciutto and the chicken breast and that sauce, and it really, really, really comes together nicely. So, Patty, where are you at with the cheese?
My cheese is getting melty.
It's getting melty? Mine too.
It's getting melty. So now the piece of sage inside is like a surprise because you can't see it anymore.
And you can't see the toothpick either. So you have to remember when you eat it, you can either take it out for your guest, which kind of ruins the beauty of the dish, or you can serve it to your guest and say, now remember, there's a toothpick in the middle holding this together, and let them extract it for themselves. So, say what?
I took them out before I put the cheese on. That scared me. Because it's like, there's something that's going to poke me or cut me, I'm going to find it. So,
my mom, when I was growing up, my mom made this Italian dish called bruschetta, and it's like a rolled roast, and it's like a flat roast, and it's stuffed with delicious things like fresh tomatoes and basil, and breadcrumbs and garlic and cheese, and then you roll it up and tie it with a string and pin it with toothpicks so it doesn't come apart, and bake it in the oven. And she forever would miss a piece of string or a toothpick, and you'd be like eating this delicious dish, and all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, what was that? So I'm just carrying on her tradition.
Excellent.
With the toothpick.
Wow. My brother-in-law always said when my mother would cook with a bay leaf, she would never take the bay leaf out, right? And my brother-in-law, Richard, always got the bay leaf. That was just a family tradition. Don't know how it happened, but Richard always got the bay leaf.
On purpose?
No, just luck of the draw.
Okay, so I took out the chicken. I'm putting it on a plate. I'm getting some potato coins to put on the side, and I'm going to get some broccolini, and then I'm going to pour this delicious sauce on the top of all this, because it's now the sauce is thick and creamy and flavorful, and it's got the sage and the parsley, the wine and the garlic, the lemon juice, the butter. It's all in there, and voila. We have a beautiful dish. So I'm going to make it, I'm going to try and show you at an angle so you can see how beautiful that is. And it turns out like you can sprinkle a little parsley on the top, and it is ready to serve. So.
All right, let's do your reveal. Let me see it again.
Oh, here.
Sir John's is better looking.
It's the gay thing. I have the gay gene. It makes, I don't know, it's like a design thing that we all know.
I know. I'm learning so much. So John, I want to say I was getting ready today. I thought, you know what? John and I have done a lot of crazy things as friends over the last 40 years, but this has got to be the craziest. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for indulging us, because this is crazy. Super fun. And I love having dinner done so early on every Wednesday.
And that's the great thing about it is like my family can't wait till it's done because they're lurking and ready to eat it no matter what time of the day it is. And so we do it early like this so that you guys, if you feel like you're so inspired, you can make it for dinner.
Love that. All right. I think we're there. So should I talk about next week real quick before we sign off?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay. So next week, I'm going on location. I am going to exit the Coachella Valley 115-degree average for the last 2 weeks and still going into next week. So next week, we're going to be on location. We're going to have a flatbread pizza that is a super fun, tasty, perfect thing if you're not in your own kitchen and you want something fun. It can be an appetizer, it can be an entree, and we're going to have a special guest making a special cocktail. So you won't want to miss that.
That sounds wonderful. So I can't wait. So you're going to teach me how to make that because that's not something I've ever made. And I do know about the special guest and the cocktail. So I'm looking forward to that probably more than anything.
Yeah, we're going to have to practice that a few times this week, I think, with him.
Oh, just to make sure that it tastes good, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So as you know, this is the 5th episode. We've tried this out and it's getting easier and easier. And we're really hoping to build an audience. So hopefully you'll watch. And you will not be eating dolphin meat, whomever has started that whole thing. I think it's kind of silly and funny, but no, we don't eat dolphin meat. So go away. But for each week, we're going to tell you in advance what we're making the next week. And what would be really fun is if you want to make it with us while we're doing it. So maybe next week, Patty, you want to give us a couple of ideas in advance about some of the ingredients so that maybe some people can make and follow along.
Absolutely. And just also thank you for your feedback and your ideas and your input. This is a work in progress, as we've been saying. We've got some ideas. We know that you want to see the dish, so we're working on that overhead camera angle and we're working out our internet glitches. But I understand that, I don't know where I think school just started like today in my community. So everybody's freaking out because their Wi-Fi is overloading. So thank you for hanging in with us with the crazy world with all the Wi-Fi issues. And please keep giving your comments and your suggestions because with that, we'll be able to do what you like and what you're interested in and just go from there. So cheers.
Cheers. And you can find the recipe for this chicken saltimbocca on 2dadswithbaggage.com. That's the number 2, dadswithbaggage.com. The recipe will be live in just a couple of minutes. And all the recipes from the past episodes are there as well. You can also go to YouTube to 2 Dads with Baggage, and all the episodes, the videos are there if you want to catch up on all the crazy fun we've been having over the last few weeks. So thanks. We'll see you next week for flatbread and secret cocktail. And dinner's going to be a little late tonight. Is out.
Cheers.
Cheers.